Hey, everybody, welcome back to another Tips Tuesday. Dr. Jeff Rickenbaugh back here with you, where once a week I bring you one tip for dealing with the difficult people in your life that just continue to make things a little more difficult than they need to be in your world. We are finally to the end of our series on top 10 tips for dealing with bullies, and we have reached tip number 10, which is simply to create a bully free zone. Create a bully free zone. If you are in management, if you are in leadership level, if you have some influence on this, do everything you can to just not put up with it, frankly. Have a three strikes and you're out policy. I mean, there's a number of ways to go about it. Obviously, you have to abide by your state and local laws, your organizational policies, your industry regulations, these kinds of things. But do everything you can just to not tolerate it. And you don't have to deal with it. The less you deal with on the front end, the less you have to deal with on the back end. I think for a number of years, companies sort of erred on one end of the spectrum where it was sort of the good old boy authoritarian leadership style and bullying was allowed. Now we've almost swung to the other extreme where any sort of complaint is taken extremely seriously and oftentimes overreacted to. So it's important to consider all complaints. More than one person, have a committee, bring in some outside leadership coaching, get some objective sort of third eye consultant on the situation. But it's important to discern which complaints are legitimate and which are not. And by the way, that overreacting actually leads to creating a culture of victimhood, a culture of victims, a culture of filing complaints. And so we don't want to enable that, but we do want to give fair evaluation of any complaints that come in. But we need to recognize when we have legitimate bullying going on, when somebody's being intimidated, when they're feeling threatened, these kinds of things in the workplace, just not to put up with it at all. So sounds fairly simple. Seems like finding this happy medium is difficult for a lot of organizations. But tip number 10 is to create a bully-free zone. To get all of my top 10 tips for dealing with bullies, or to watch my free webinar on dealing with all of the 8 types of difficult people, click those 2 links below. Also, if you found this free social media series helpful, I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, or share this with others so they can benefit from it as well. We'll now be moving into our top 10 tips for dealing with con artists. Top 10 tips for dealing with con artists is right around the corner. Can't wait to get to it, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.